I was arrested because I accidentally stabbed my husband while we were both horny. 5 dirty F-up stories of Reddit. Today I F'd up. My girlfriend and I have been going out for 3 months as of this weekend. We both just started college, out of my home state, so she has little experience with the male body, specifically the genitalia. I'm a quite hairy guy, so I've grown used to shaving on the daily. The trickiest part of shaving is the nether region. I manage to keep it nice and clean, but have to get the skin to the right tightness, you gentlemen will understand, to shave it without cutting myself. Fast forward to a week ago. After spending the night in my dorm and not shaving for the past couple of days, my girlfriend asked if she could shave me. We hop in the shower and do the regular scrub down before cleaning myself up. I gave my girlfriend my old razor that I last replaced in summer since I'm a broke college student, the first mess up. Anyways, things are going good. She's doing a good job shaving my face, then decides to move down. I don't think she knew that ball skin detracts and retracts, so she just goes right in. Second mess. I scream, then she screams. Red water starts pouring down the shower drain and I feel like I'm going to pass out. We turn the shower off. I quickly dress myself and make our ways to the ER. Since I don't live in the state, I don't have my car, so to avoid the extremely high ambulance cost, we had to Uber. Third mess up. I'm sitting in the back freaking out about how I am going to explain this to my extremely religious parents, then I notice I'm bleeding through my pants. I cover my pants with my jacket when the longest Uber of my life finally is over and we arrive at the ER. On the way out of the Uber, I look back at my seat to grab my back and notice the biggest blood stain on the seats I've seen. Freaking the hell out, I just close the door and thank them for the ride and limp over to the room. I go to check into the ER and I can see the desk person staring right at my crotch. She asks, "What's the reason for your visit?" My girlfriend, freaking out next to me, burst out, "I cut his balls open trying to shave him," directing the attention of everyone in the room to me. She asks us to take a seat, so I do the walk of shame with a crowd of people staring at my bloody ball holder. Eventually, I get called in and do all of the usual stuff before a surgery. I am put under and next thing you know I wake up with stitches in my balls. The doctor gives me the talk about what I can do to make sure the stitches don't fall out, but I wasn't really paying attention. Fourth mess up. I go back to my dorm and try to live life as normally as I can with sewed balls. I call my parents to deal with the cost of my mess up, telling them I cut my hand with a pocket knife. A few days passed, when in the middle of the night I wake up with a scorching pain coming from my family jewels. I look down and I am covered in blood. Again, I quickly get my clothes on and call an Uber, this time with a towel. I run into the ER and do the same run through that I did a week ago. It turns out, because of the location of my cut, right in between my balls and shaft, I need to have an ice water next to my bed in case my penis is excited. So now here I am, lying in my bed next to a water bottle filled with ice water in case my dreams become a little too happy. The feeling of splashing your penis with cold water is not fun at all. This is going to be a long couple of weeks. This was actually several years ago, you know the drill. So years ago I lived in the lower level of a building and because of this I would get lots of insects here and there due to the damp environment. One midsummer day I was taking care of business on the toilet and let my boxers and shorts fall to the floor while browsing Reddit and doing my business. I finished up, pulled up my shorts and was greeted with some of the most excruciating pain I had ever felt. I looked down to see a wasp hanging out around my testicles and smacked it away. Then in my rage I squashed it with whatever I had nearby. Then to make sure its last moments were filled with suffering, I put it in rubbing alcohol and watched it struggle as it died. Then I noticed it wasn't a type of wasp I was familiar with, and after a quick Google search I realized it was a parasitic wasp. You know, the kind that lay eggs by stinging, then once the larvae hatch they eat their way out of the corpse, or out of the still living insect. Were my balls going to burst forth with wasp larvae in a few days? Thankfully I realized by reading that humans aren't affected by this horrible nightmare-inducing wasp sting, and my balls were safe to live another day. For a few minutes I definitely thought I was done. Anyway, I hope this gives someone a laugh. Still processing this one since it took place about 5 hours ago. Me, male 45 years old, and my wife, female, 47 years old, have been married for about 5 years and have a combined family. Most of our kids are half-time with us and half-time with their other parents. Anyway, my 20-year-old stepdaughter's room is just down the hall from the master bedroom. About 6 weeks ago, she started sleepwalking and wake standing in random places. She even woke up in the kennel with our dog once, Yes, I know it's super strange. Because my wife and I are trying not to scar the kids, we wait until they are all asleep before we have sexy times. Many times this means we go to sleep and then wake each other up in the middle of the night for sexy time. Last night was one of those nights. When we went to bed, between 8 and 9 because we get up at 4 a.m. to work out, kids were still up and milling around, so we figured we'd wait until the middle of the night or have a quickie before we went to the gym. A few hours later I wake to a stiffy pressed up against my wife's backside and decide it's game time. Within a couple of minutes we are deeply into it and a few minutes later we know it's about time for the grand finale. My wife breathlessly tells me the words that every man around the planet loves to hear, "I wanted to finish you with my mouth." I practically jumped off the bed and stand there as my wife gets on her knees to give me a toe-curling BJ. I am going to interrupt this story for a moment to give another little factoid. My wife was a single mom to 4 girls for many years prior to meeting and then marrying me. Her and her daughters are pretty immodest around the house. I'm constantly asking them to put shorts or sweats on. Anyway, there I am standing naked beside my bed. My wife is on her knees sucking my soul out through my member. My eyes are closed, my head is back and I'm just about to release when I get that weird feeling that I'm being watched. I open my eyes and see my 20-year-old stepdaughter standing 3 feet behind her mom in a tank top and panties. I reflexively pulled back from my wife's mouth, which caused her to grab extra hard. The next thing I know I'm spraying my load all over her face while I'm looking directly into my stepdaughter's eyes. My wife is trying to be playful and thinks I'm just feeling kinky and I was just trying to cover myself. My stepdaughter just stands there for what seemed like an eternity before saying, "Holy hell," over and over and walking out of our room and back to hers. Of course, as soon as my wife heard her daughter's voice she became much less playful and everything got deadly serious. So now I've gone to the gym, I'm sitting at my desk working and my wife has been in talking with her daughter for the past couple of hours. Honestly, my only mess up was the timing. But it did happen today, so there is that. To address the elephant in the room straight away, I'm a very submissive person and one of my things is being called names. The guy that I'm dating is also into calling me humiliating names, so it kinda works out. However, he is very, very careful when doing it, for reasons that will become pretty clear soon. Despite loving the name calling as well, my boyfriend has always been way more careful about it. He tries not to go overboard and is very conscious about where he does it and how far he goes. By my own fault, I started to push him more and more and basically made him start calling me a cum dumpster. He always tried to avoid the more vivid names, but I guess after me pestering him, he broke and started using it. For the past month or so, I don't think he's said my name once. Cum dumpster basically became my nickname. To add fuel to the fire, because I'm basically the queen of doing something until it goes very, very wrong, I pushed my boyfriend into us recording a short voice message for me to use as my alarm. Instantly, because he knows me, he told me that eventually I'll forget to disable an alarm and it'll go off in public and it'll be very interesting to say the least. I should have trusted him because apparently he knows me better than I know myself, but I have a way of getting my way of things. So he agreed and we recorded like a 15 seconds voice message. I don't want to give you a play-by-play of the message, but it's basically him telling me that I'm stupid cum dumpster and me agreeing in a very sexual tone that I am in fact a stupid cum dumpster. Lovely, I know. And here's the TIFU my boyfriend warned me about, and the obligatory "it didn't happen today, it actually happened yesterday." I had a pretty big presentation at college yesterday that I've been working very hard on for the past 6 months. It's very important to me and I wanted to nail it. I don't think I've been more prepared to do something. I was ready. It was also a huge deal. Multiple professors would be present and around 200 students were sure to show up. I know you have an idea of where this is going, but trust me, it gets better. The day of the presentation comes, 4 students were supposed to present their project. I was one of them. Our main professor comes to us and tells us that a few representatives of companies interested in our projects are also here to observe and assess. I was extremely excited because, as I said, I actually came very prepared. I even fought tooth and nail to go first. I was going to go first, steal the spotlight and put this in the bag. I start my presentation and I'm killing it. I'm concise, I sound professional, everything is on point, until my alarm goes off. My first mistake was not making sure my phone is on silent or hell, even turned off. My second mistake was putting my phone right next to the microphones on the stand. Why do I even have an alarm on when it's 1 p.m.? I've no clue. I don't even remember putting an alarm. I woke up at like 6 a.m. that morning. I was so excited for the day, I beat my alarm by 2 hours. My alarm goes off and everyone is either laughing or in awe of my stupidity. I was so shocked by myself it took like one loop of the alarm going off before I even turned it off. I fumbled my phone 3 times in the process. If I managed to turn it off before the part of me agreeing I'm a stupid coom dumpster, I would have played it off as if someone played a prank on me, but nah, the whole thing rang out on full blast. I apologize and try to play it off cool and rebound as soon as possible, but there was some laughter still. I was so shocked by how idiotic I can be that I completely forgot to be embarrassed about it until my presentation was done. Thankfully, my project overshadowed the others by a mile, and my professors laughed it off afterwards, and even some of the representatives took it in good gesture, telling me not to worry about it. They care more about the project than my personal life, which was embarrassing in and of itself. To make things kinda more embarrassing, I think the whole campus now knows me as Coom Dumpster, and that's literally my actual nickname now. I tell my boyfriend about it. He kinda gauged the situation a bit to see if I wanted to die or not, but he proceeded to laugh his butt off, telling me I told you so. He said we'll need to find a new nickname, though, because the whole campus is probably going to call me Coom Dumpster now, and according to him, good for you, Tori. I don't think he'll ever stop teasing me about this. So yeah, I messed up by making my boyfriend call me a cum dumpster. So my husband is a stay-at-home dad while I am a working wife. Every morning, before I leave for work, my husband polishes my shoes. Since he has a submissive fetish, and I get some kinky pleasure out of this as well, what usually happens is that I would stand 2 steps up from the ground floor while my husband would kiss my feet and suck my toes. He would put my socks and shoes on, and then polish my shoes while I am wearing them. Then, he would prostrate at the bottom of the steps while I would literally, albeit lightly, step on his head out the door. I had an event to get after work, so I decided to spice things up and wear some high heels to work. In fact, I got them kind of sharpened as I was trying to imitate Esme Squalor. Couldn't literally use knives as heels as that wouldn't be practical. So anyway, my husband kissed my feet, sucked my toes, put on my heels and started polishing them. He prostrated as usual, and not wanting to place my heels on his head, I thought I would aim for his shoulder blade. Unfortunately I missed and ended up stabbing the back of his neck. He started bleeding, so I called 911 and he was taken to the ER. I told the doctors that we were having a fight in which I stabbed him with my heel. So they called the police and I was arrested for domestic abuse until my husband was discharged from the hospital and able to convince the officers what really happened. He was extremely embarrassed to do so, and the police kept telling him that men can be abused as well, etc. Neither my husband or I have ever been this publicly embarrassed. I'm just glad that I wasn't literally using knives for heels. Thanks for listening to Radio TTS. Hit the subscribe button and activate the notification bell for more stories about dirty F-ups. Click the right box for the Today I F'd Up playlist. Share your own F-ups in the comments below.